Hello viewers, in today's class we are going to discuss these two integrals, right? And here we are not going to solve these two integrals by the usual method, but here we'll make use of a direct result, right? So sometimes we come across with these type of integrals and we need to write the values of such type of integrals in a very short time. Then in that case we should know the direct result, right? So now let us write the general integral which is similar to these two integrals, right? So we know that if we have the integral 0 to pi by 2 and we have the integrand 1 over a square cos square x plus b square sin square x, then the direct value of this integral is pi divided by 2 times the product of a and b, right? So this is our result, right? And this is a very well known and famous integral, right? So we can solve this integral and we can get this value pi over 2 times a times b by the method of substitution. So now to get the values of these two integrals, let us compare the first one with this integral, right? So here we have a square and here we have 2, right? So a square is equal to 2 and b square is equal to 3, right? So a is equal to square root of 2 and b is the square root of 3. So the direct value of this integral can now be written as pi divided by 2 times and the product of a and b. So a is the square root of 2 and b is the square root of 3. So this is pi divided by 2 times square root of 6, right? So the value of this integral is pi over 2 times square root of 6. Now let us consider the second integral. Now if we compare this integral with this one, then the value of a square is 100 and b square is 81, right? So from this result we can write a is equal to 10 and from here b is 9, right? So the direct value of this integral is pi divided by 2 times the product of a and b. So 2 times a is 10 and b is 9, right? So this is pi divided by 180, right? So this is how we can solve these type of integrals by using this general result. Now, viewers, here I would like to make an important point here, right? Now, see, if we slightly change this result, then we can get a new result, right? See, if we write this result like this, see, if we change the limits, that is from minus pi by 2 to pi by 2, and the integrand remains the same, that is dx over a square cos square x plus b square sin square x. Then what would be the value of this integral, right? See, when the limits are from 0 to pi by 2, then the value is pi divided by 2 times the product of a and b, right? And when we change the limit from 0 to pi by 2 to minus pi by 2 to pi by 2, then the value of this integral is half of this value, that is pi over the product of a and b. Now here we have got this result because this function, that is 1 over a square cos square x plus b square sin square x is an even function, right? And here we have used the property of definite integral, that is if we have the integral from minus a to a and we have say f of x dx, then this integral can be written as 2 times 0 to a f of x dx if this function f of x is an even function, that is f of minus x is equal to f of x, right? So here this function we can take it as f of x. So this function f of x, this is 1 over a square cos square x plus b square sin square x. This is an even function, right? So the value of this integral is 2 times the value of this integral, right? That is, we can write minus pi by 2 to pi by 2 and dx over a square cos square x plus b square sin square x is equal to 2 times the integral 0 to pi by 2, and we have dx over a square cos square x plus b square sin square x. So we have 2 times, and the value of this integral is pi over 2ab. So 2 and 2 get cancelled, so we have pi over ab, right? So now if we wish to find out the values of these two integrals, right? So here we have the limits from minus pi by 2 to pi by 2. Here also we have minus pi by 2 to pi by 2, and the integrand remains the same in both the integrals, right? So what we will do, here we have the limits from 0 to pi by 2, and we have the value of this integral as pi over 2 root 6, right? So the value of this integral when the limits are from minus pi by 2 to pi by 2 is half of this value, that is 1 over 2, right? So this is 2 pi over 2 times square root of 6. So 2 and 2 get cancelled, so we are left with pi over square root of 6, right? Or in other words, we can say that the value of this integral is pi over a times b, right? So here we can also write pi over a multiplied with b. A is the square root of 2, and here we have square root of 3. So this is pi over square root of 6, right? Now similarly in this case, the value of this integral is pi over a times b. So here we have pi, and a is 10 and b is 9, right? So we have pi over 90. So pi over 90 is half of pi over 180, right? So viewers, this is how we can solve these type of problems.